What if the grocery store shelves stay empty longer than you think? It's not fear mongering, it's happened before, and with today's supply chain fragility, it could happen again. And here's why it matters: your emergency food might expire before the crisis does, unless you're storing the right powdered foods. Stick around, because I'm revealing the 10 powdered staples that actually last decades, taste decent, and most people have never even heard of number 3. Hey, I'm David. I've been prepping since 2014, not because I'm building a bunker under my backyard, but because I like knowing that no matter what happens, power outage, job hiccup, or even just a brutal winter storm, I can still feed my family something warm, familiar, and actually tasty. I've been deep in food storage research for over a decade, and recently I cross-checked USDA guidelines, military rations data, and real-world prepper logs from past shortages like the 2020 panic buying wave and even the 1970s oil crisis. But the right powdered foods, stored properly, can feed your family for 25 years or more without tasting like chalk. In this video, I'm breaking down the 10 best powdered foods for real long-term survival, including a forgotten W wheat era staple that's making a comeback, and why powdered butter might be your secret morale weapon. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Quick question for you in the comments. Have you noticed shortages or price hikes on basics like eggs, milk, or flour lately? Drop your observation below. I read every one. Number 10, powdered broth or stock. Let's start with flavor, because let's be honest, survival food doesn't have to taste like punishment. Powdered broth might seem like the quiet kid in the emergency pantry, but don't sleep on it. This stuff is your secret weapon when the power's out or the grocery run gets delayed. Just add hot water and in seconds, you've got rich, savory broth that can turn plain rice into a meal or revive a sad pot of beans. It's not just for soup either. Use it as a base for gravy, stir it into mashed potatoes for extra depth, or even sip it like tea when you need warmth and salt. 2 things your body craves under stress. Now, here's what most people don't know. Not all powdered broths are created equal. Skip the dusty bouillon cubes from the back of the discount aisle. They often contain fillers, MSG, and weird anti-caking agents that shorten shelf life and mess with taste. Instead, look for pure powdered stock with minimal ingredients. Just dehydrated broth, maybe a touch of sea salt, and real herbs. Brands like Better Than Bouillon in powdered form, or emergency-specific options from companies like Peak Refuel or Harmony House actually taste like something your grandma would use. Stored right, meaning in a cool, dark place inside an airtight container with an oxygen absorber, powdered broth can last 10 to 15 years. That's longer than most canned goods. And unlike liquid stock, it won't leak, freeze, or weigh down your storage space. A single pound can make dozens of servings, making it one of the most cost-effective flavor boosters you'll ever buy. Plus, it's lightweight for bug-out bags or camping trips. You might not think about it until you need it, but when you do, you'll be glad you stocked it. Number 9, powdered peanut butter. Yes, powdered peanut butter is real, and no, you don't need a NASA badge to use it. Think of it as peanut butter's leaner, longer-lasting cousin. Regular peanut butter, delicious, sure, but that oil it's soaked in, that's what turns rancid after a year or two, especially in warm storage. Powdered peanut butter solves that problem by removing most of the fat up front. What's left is a fine peanutty powder that's still packed with protein, fiber, and that classic nutty taste we all love. Brands like PB2 made this mainstream, but for preppers, it's a quiet powerhouse. Mix it with a little water and you've got spreadable peanut butter in seconds. Stir it into oatmeal, blend it into smoothies, or even bake with it. Cookies, energy balls, pancakes, you name it. And because it's so light and dry, it stores incredibly well. Kept in a sealed Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber in a cool, dark spot, powdered peanut butter can easily last 10 years or more without losing flavor or nutrition. Here's another win. It's budget friendly. You're not paying for heavy oil or fancy packaging, just pure peanut goodness by weight. And let's not forget the kids. In a stressful situation, familiar flavors bring comfort. A spoonful of reconstituted peanut butter on a cracker or mixed into a shake can feel like a slice of normal life. Plus, it's allergen friendly for most households. Always check labels, of course, and way easier to ration than jars of the oily kind. You might not think of it as survival food, but when morale is low and calories matter, this humble powder punches way above its weight. Number 8, powdered eggs. Okay, let's tackle the big one, powdered eggs. I know what you're thinking. You, powdered eggs? Aren't those the weird rubbery things from old army movies? But hold on. Before you write them off, hear me out. Because in the world of long-term food storage, powdered eggs are one of the few ways to keep real, high-quality protein on hand without refrigeration, and yes, they're actually usable. Here's the truth. Modern powdered eggs have come a long way. Made by spray drying fresh eggs, they retain nearly all the protein, vitamins, and amino acids of the real thing. When stored properly in an airtight container, away from heat and light, they can last 5 to 10 years. Some preppers even stash them in the freezer to stretch that shelf life even further. No electricity needed once they're sealed, just a cool, dry pantry spot. Now, about the taste and texture, sure, they're not farm-fresh Sunday brunch eggs, but if you whisk them with a splash of water or powdered milk for creaminess and cook them low and slow over gentle heat, they scramble surprisingly well. No weird grit, no chemical aftertaste. Just soft yellow curds that do the job. They work great in omelets, quiches, or even French toast batter, and in baking, you'd never know the difference. Cakes, cookies, breads, they all rise and bind just like they should. Think about it. Eggs are one of the first things to vanish during shortages. Prices spike, shelves empty, and suddenly your go-to breakfast or baking ingredient is gone for weeks. Powdered eggs solve that. A single can, usually around 24-36 ounces, can replace over 100 fresh eggs. Lightweight, shelf-stable, and mess-free. And don't forget the morale factor. In a stressful time, a simple scrambled egg with toast can feel like a real meal, not just survival rations. It's familiar, it's comforting, and it keeps your energy up when you need it most. So yeah, powdered eggs might not win a cooking show, but in your emergency pantry, they're a quiet, protein-packed hero you'll be glad you stocked. Number 7, powdered milk. Powdered milk isn't flashy, but it's one of the most reliable staples you can store for the long haul. This isn't your great-grandma's chalky emergency ration. Well, maybe it is, but it's gotten way better. Non-fat powdered milk, when sealed in a Mylar bag with oxygen absorbers and kept in a cool, dark place, can last 15 to 20 years. That's right, 2 decades of shelf life from something that costs pennies per serving. Full-fat powdered milk tastes richer and creamier, closer to what you're used to pouring over cereal or into your coffee. But that fat also means it won't last as long, usually 2 to 5 years max, because oils go rancid over time. So for true long-term storage, non-fat is the smart pick. And don't worry, it still works. Reconstituted with cold water, it's perfectly drinkable. Warm it up, and it's great in hot cocoa, mashed potatoes, or scrambled eggs. Think about how often milk shows up in everyday cooking. Pancakes, biscuits, cream sauces, even mac and cheese. Without it, those meals either fall flat or get skipped entirely. But with powdered milk on hand, your kitchen doesn't shut down when the power goes out or the stores run dry. You can still make breakfast for the kids, bake bread, or enjoy a cup of coffee that actually tastes like coffee. And let's be real, when the fridge is empty and the world feels unstable, a cold glass of milk, even if it's powdered, can feel like a tiny return to normal. It's comforting, familiar, plus it's packed with calcium, protein, and vitamins D and A, nutrients that are easy to miss when you're living off canned goods. Just avoid storing it in its original cardboard box or plastic tub long term. Moisture and air are its enemies. Repackage it properly, and this humble powder becomes one of your most versatile, longest-lasting pantry allies. Not glamorous, but absolutely essential. Number 6, powdered butter. Don't laugh. Powdered butter is real, and it might just be the secret weapon your emergency pantry is missing. I saved this one for a reason. It's not about survival calories, it's about morale. Because let's face it, when everything feels uncertain, a warm biscuit with real butter flavor or a bowl of mashed potatoes that actually tastes rich and comforting can lift your spirits more than you'd expect. Powdered butter is made by removing the water from real butter and turning what's left into a fine, dry powder. That means no refrigeration, no spoilage, and no rancid oil mess. Stored in an airtight container away from heat and light, better yet, in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, it can last 10 years or more. That's a decade of buttery goodness, ready whenever you need it. And yes, It actually tastes like butter. Brands like Hoosier Hill Farm or Saco use real sweet cream butter, so when you reconstitute it with a bit of water or oil, or just sprinkle it dry into recipes, you get that familiar, slightly nutty, rich flavor we all know and love. Use it to saute onions, bake flaky pie crusts, or simply spread on toast. It even works in cookie dough or pancake batter. No one will guess it came from a can. Think about how often butter shows up in everyday meals, sauteing veggies, finishing a sauce, greasing a pan, or just melting over corn on the cob. Without it, food starts to feel flat, functional, but joyless. Powdered butter brings back that depth, that richness, that little touch of normalcy. It's not something you'll find at every grocery store, but a quick online order can stock you up for years. And in a world where dairy shortages and price spikes are becoming more common, that little can of powdered butter might be worth its weight in gold, not just for your meals, but for your peace of mind. Number 5, powdered cheese. Let's talk about the ultimate comfort in a can, powdered cheese. And no, I don't just mean the neon orange dust from the blue box you ate in college, though let's be honest, even that hits different during tough times. I'm talking about high-quality, real-deal powdered cheddar made from actual cheese, dehydrated without all the fillers and artificial junk. This stuff isn't a gimmick. It's a game changer for long-term food storage, and it lasts 10 to 15 years when stored properly in a cool, dry place inside an airtight container or Mylar bag with oxygen absorbers. Why does it matter? Because cheese is one of the first things to disappear during shortages and one of the hardest to replace. It's heavy, perishable, and expensive. But powdered cheese, lightweight, shelf-stable, and packed with flavor and calcium. A single pound can replace dozens of blocks of real cheese in recipes, making it incredibly cost-effective for preppers and budget-conscious households alike. And the uses go way beyond mac and cheese, though let's not downplay that. A pot of hot pasta with rehydrated powdered cheddar stirred in is pure emotional support food when the world feels shaky. But you can also sprinkle it over baked potatoes, stir it into scrambled eggs, melt it into gravy for biscuits, or mix it into rice for instant cheesy side dishes. Toss it with crackers for a quick snack, or blend it into a roux with powdered milk and a splash of water for a surprisingly creamy cheese sauce. Pro tip: always mix powdered cheese with a little powdered milk. It adds body, smoothness, and that rich mouth feel you miss from fresh dairy. Now, not all powdered cheese is created equal. Skip the ultra-processed versions loaded with anti-caking agents and artificial colors. Look for brands like Hoosier Hill Farm, Augusten Farms, or Emergency Essentials that use real aged cheddar as the main ingredient. The taste difference is night and day, sharp, tangy, and unmistakably cheesy, not waxy or chemical, and don't underestimate the psychological boost. In prolonged emergencies, variety and flavor aren't luxuries, they're necessities. A sprinkle of real-tasting cheese can turn a bland bowl of grains into something that feels like a meal, not just fuel. It reminds you that you're still eating, not just surviving. So whether you're prepping for inflation, power outages, or something bigger, don't overlook this unassuming powder. It's small, it's shelf-stable, and it might just be the thing that keeps dinner feeling like dinner, even when everything else feels upside down. Your 4, powdered mashed potatoes. There's something deeply comforting about mashed potatoes. Maybe it's the warmth, maybe it's the soft, creamy texture, or maybe it's the fact that for most of us, they're tied to family dinners, holiday tables, and childhood memories. Now imagine having that same comfort, fluffy, buttery, steaming hot mashed potatoes. Even when the power's out, the stores are empty, and winter won't quit. That's the magic of powdered mashed potatoes. Brands like Idahoan, Betty Crocker, or long-term emergency suppliers such as Mountain House and Augusten Farms offer versions that can last 25 years or more when stored properly in sealed Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. No refrigeration, no fuss. Just a lightweight, compact pouch that takes up almost no space but delivers maximum emotional and caloric payoff. All you need is hot water, boiled over a camp stove, a wood fire, or even just very hot tap water if you've got it, and within 60 seconds, you've got a bowl of warm, satisfying potatoes. Stir in a spoonful of powdered butter or a splash of reconstituted powdered milk, and it's almost indistinguishable from the real thing. But this isn't just about taste, It's about energy. Potatoes are packed with carbohydrates, potassium, and vitamin C, especially in fortified emergency versions, making them ideal for maintaining stamina during physical or emotional stress. And because they're bland enough to pair with almost anything, powdered cheese, canned meat, dehydrated veggies, they become the base for endless meal variations. Think about real-world scenarios. A week-long ice storm knocks out power, the fridge is warming up, the kids are cold and cranky, you heat a pot of water on your propane stove, stir in a scoop of powdered potatoes, and suddenly, everyone relaxes. Shoulders drop, smiles return. That's not just dinner, that's stability in a bowl. And unlike fresh potatoes, which sprout, rot, or freeze in storage, powdered versions stay ready, quietly waiting in your pantry for the day you need them most. In survival, calories matter, but so does comfort, and powdered mashed potatoes deliver both, one warm spoonful at a time. Number 3, powdered fruit and vegetable blends. Let's be real. When most people stock up for emergencies, they think calories first: rice, beans, pasta, canned meat. But here's the quiet truth no one talks about enough. You can survive on calories alone, but you won't thrive. Without vitamins and minerals, your immune system weakens, your energy crashes, and over time, you risk real deficiency diseases. Yes, even in the 21st century. That's where powdered fruit and vegetable blends come in. These aren't just green powders for yoga influencers. We're talking about real freeze-dried or dehydrated blends of spinach, carrots, berries, kale, beets, and more, turned into fine, shelf-stable powders that lock in nutrients without needing refrigeration. Stored in airtight, oxygen-free packaging like Mylar with absorbers, they can last 10 to 15 years while still delivering vital vitamins A, C, K, folate, and antioxidants. And they're shockingly easy to use. Stir a spoonful into water for a quick produce boost, blend it into oatmeal, mix it into pancake batter, or toss it into rehydrated soups for an extra nutritional punch. Some blends are sweet, like mixed berry or tropical fruit, and kids won't even realize they're getting veggies. Others are savory, perfect for thickening stews or adding depth to sauces. Now, will it replace a crisp apple or a garden-fresh salad? No, but in a prolonged emergency, weeks or months without access to fresh food, it bridges the gap between mere survival and actual health. Think of it as insurance against scurvy, fatigue, and slow-healing wounds, all of which can sneak up when your diet lacks variety. Brands like Harmony House Emergency Essentials or even Thrive Life offer blends with clean ingredient lists. No added sugar, no weird fillers, just pure produce, powdered. And because they're lightweight and compact, you can store months' worth in a single shoebox-size container. In a crisis, your body is under stress. It needs more nutrients, not fewer. Powdered fruit and veggie blends won't grab headlines like MREs or freeze-dried steaks, but they're the quiet heroes keeping your immune system strong, your mind clear, and your family healthier when it matters most. Number 2, powdered honey and maple syrup. Sweetness isn't just a luxury, it's survival fuel with a side of comfort. In any long-term emergency, your body burns more calories from stress, cold, or physical labor. And sugar, it's fast energy. But beyond that, a touch of sweetness can do something even more powerful. It reminds you that life isn't all rationing and worry. That's where powdered honey and powdered maple syrup come in, two of the most underrated long-lasting morale boosters in your pantry. Unlike their liquid counterparts, which can crystallize, honey, ferment if moisture gets in, or spoil over time, the powdered versions are shelf-stable wonders. Made by combining real honey or maple syrup with a natural carrier like maltodextrin or dried cane juice, then dehydrating it into a fine powder, they retain the flavor and most of the benefits, but none of the storage headaches. When sealed in an airtight container, away from heat and humidity, or better yet, in a Mylar bag with an oxygen absorber, these powders can last 30 years or more without losing potency or taste, and they're incredibly versatile. Stir a spoonful into hot water for instant sweet tea or honey lemon drink. Mix into oatmeal or rehydrated powdered milk for a comforting breakfast. Use them in baking, cookies, pancakes, breads. Just like you would liquid sweeteners, you'll usually add a bit more water to compensate. Or, on a rough day, just let a pinch dissolve on your tongue for a tiny moment of normalcy. Kids especially respond to that little hit of familiar sweetness when everything else feels uncertain. Don't confuse these with artificial sweeteners or sugary fillers. Quality powdered honey, like from Hoosier Hill Farm or Honeyville, uses real raw honey as the base. Same with powdered maple. It's made from genuine maple syrup, not maple flavored syrup loaded with corn syrup. The taste is unmistakable. Floral and warm for honey, rich and woodsy for maple. In past shortages, like during wartime rationing or the Great Depression, families guarded their sweeteners like gold, not just for energy, but because a spoonful of sweetness could lift spirits when hope felt thin. Today, with honey prices soaring and pure maple syrup becoming a luxury, having a decades-long supply in powder form is both practical and deeply comforting. So, yes, it's just sugar. But in a crisis, that sugar might be the difference between eating to survive and eating like you still matter. Number 1, powdered whole meals. And now, the next one, powdered food you should be storing for long-term survival: complete powdered meals. These aren't just random ingredients tossed in a bucket. We're talking fully balanced, just add water dishes that taste like real food and can sit on your shelf for 25 years or more without breaking a sweat. Brands like Thrive Life, Augustin Farms, Mountain House, and even select military MRE sides have perfected the art of freeze-dried or dehydrated full meals that rehydrate fast, taste surprisingly good, and deliver real nutrition when you need it most. Imagine this. The power's out for days. The fridge is warm, you're exhausted, but instead of forcing down another bland cracker or cold can of beans, you pour hot water into a pouch of creamy chicken Alfredo, give it a stir, wait 5 minutes, and suddenly you're eating a hot, satisfying meal that actually feels like dinner. That's the power of powdered whole meals. These aren't mystery mush. We're talking beef stew with tender carrots and potatoes, cheesy macaroni, scrambled eggs with bacon bits, chili with beans, even breakfast skillets with potatoes and sausage. They're pre-seasoned, pre-cooked, and packed with protein, carbs, and fats your body needs to stay strong. Most require only hot, not boiling water, and many can even be eaten cold in a pinch, though they taste best warm. Yes, they cost more upfront than bulk rice or beans. But consider what you're really paying for: time, taste, nutrition, and peace of mind. In a crisis, you won't have the luxury of hours to cook from scratch. You won't always have fuel to spare. And morale, it plummets faster than you think when every meal feels like punishment. A hot, familiar dish can reset your whole day. Storage is simple. Keep the pouches or cans in a cool, dry place. No rotation needed for decades. They're lightweight, compact, and perfect for both pantry stockpiles and bug-out bags. So while they might not be your everyday budget meal, for long-term emergency prep, powdered whole meals are worth every single penny. Because when the world goes sideways, eating well isn't a luxury. It's part of staying human. All right, quick pro tips before we wrap, because storing powdered food right makes all the difference. First, never leave your powdered goods in their original packaging for long-term storage. Those flimsy bags or plastic tubs, they let in air and moisture, which kills shelf life. Instead, repackage everything into Mylar bags with oxygen absorbers. It's cheap, easy, and can double or even triple how long your food stays fresh. Think 20 plus years instead of 5. Second, rotate your stock. Don't just buy it and forget it. Use that older can of powdered milk in your Saturday pancakes. Bake with powdered eggs next time you make cookies. Not only does this keep your supplies fresh, but it also builds your confidence. You'll know how to use them when you really need to. And finally, skip the flashy 50-year survival buckets that promise the moon but taste like cardboard and regret. Too many are loaded with fillers, fake flavors, and zero real testing. Always try a serving first. Cook it, taste it, see if you'd actually eat it in a crisis. Your future self, cold and hungry, will thank you for choosing quality over marketing hype. Smart storage isn't about hoarding. It's about being ready and staying sane. You've just seen the 10 best powdered foods for emergency and long-term survival. Not because the world's ending tomorrow, but because life is unpredictable. Power goes out, shelves empty, prices spike, and when that happens, you'll be glad you stocked smart, shelf-stable foods that actually taste like food. This isn't about fear, it's about freedom. The freedom to feed your family well, even when the system stumbles. Whether you're a budget-conscious diner, a nostalgic comfort food lover, or someone who just hates wasting money on groceries that spoil, These powdered staples are for you. Because let's be honest, even in a crisis, I still want my mashed potatoes. I still want my morning coffee with real milk. I still want to bake cookies that taste like home. And with the right powdered foods in your pantry, you absolutely can. So if this video helped you, whether you learned about powdered butter for the first time or finally understood how to store powdered eggs properly, do me a quick favor, smash that like button. It takes 2 seconds, but it tells YouTube, hey, I want more real, practical, no panic prep content, not doom scrolling disguised as advice. And I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one powdered food you'd miss most if it disappeared from stores tomorrow? Is it powdered milk, cheese, or maybe your team powdered peanut butter all the way? Let's compare notes. I read every single comment. And if you're new here, hit subscribe and tap the bell. We keep this channel grounded, useful, and totally panic-free. Just smart food prep for real people living real lives. Thanks so much for watching, for prepping on your own terms, and for caring enough to be ready. Stay calm, stay fed, and I'll see you in the next one.